chapter or for module 5, and I'm going to share my screen and we will start. So let me just go over the first problem here, and that is it's question 1 in your work. And Target Corporation's footnote, which is regarding operating expenses, from its annual report table illustrates the primary items classified in each major expense category, which are cost of sales or selling and admin. For each expense, indicate whether the item should be in COS for cost of sales or selling and admin. So advertising expense, selling and admin. Compensation benefits for headquarter employees, headquarter, that means selling and admin because it's administration. Compensation and benefit costs for store employees, selling and admin. Compensation and benefit costs for distribution center of employees, that's cost of sales. Distribution costs, cost of sales. Freight expenses associated with moving merchandise, cost of sales. Freight expenses associated with moving merchandise among distribution and retail, cost of sales. Import costs for cost of sales. Inventory theft, cost of sales. Litigation, selling and admin. Markdowns on slow-moving inventory, cost of sales. Occupancy costs for headquarters, selling and admin. For retail locations, selling and admin. Outbound shipping and handling, selling and admin. Payment term cash discounts to vendors, which is cost of the product, cost of sales. Pre-operating costs of stores at eStart, selling and admin. Credit card servicing, selling and admin. And vendor reimbursement of specific advertising costs, selling and admin. So that should give you're just breaking down the cost basically and really concentrating on what are part of the cost of sales. So now let's look at the next problem. What I did in this problem is I copied this over into an Excel template. So now I'm going to go to Excel and I'm going to make this bigger. Need to have it bigger. Let's make it bigger. That should help you see it better. I am hoping so. Remember, you can always increase your screen size. Okay, so I cut and paste from the problem itself, and it's talking about the accounts receivable. Okay, and so it's giving you accounts receivable broken down by how many days past due is. They have buckets, so they have the 90,000, which is in the 0 to 30, the 20,000, which is 31 to 60, etc. And then the total is 131. And this over here is what they're estimating to be their loss on each one of these categories. So what I did in order to figure out what this is, okay, I took each one of the buckets and multiplied it by the percentage. So that was 1,800, and then 800, 550, 600, and 1,000. And then that's a total of 4,750. You already had 520 in that account for allowances, so you would need to put in 4,230. Okay, so that would mean that if your total accounts receivable was 131, which is here, I would take the 131, subtract 4,230, and get the balance of accounts receivable, which is 126,770. Now these answers are my numbers, so you would have different numbers, but that's how it's done for that problem. Okay, for 3, again, I copied it over, and I'm going to go ahead and make this bigger so you can see it. Whoa, too big. There you go. Okay. Mohan Company estimates its uncollectible accounts by aging its accounts and applying percentages to aged categories. They compute a total of 4,200 in estimated uncollectible accounts as of its current year end. Its accounts receivable has a balance of $172,000 and its allowance has a remaining or unused balance of $1,400 before you make any adjustments. So now, what amount of bad debt expense will be reported on the income statement? Well, we would take the $4,200, which is the total estimated uncollectible. You've already done $1,400. You can see it's an unused balance. So I would need to have the expense being $2,800, which is $4,200 minus $1,400, and determine that net amounts of accounts receivable reported at year end. What would that be? And that would be the total of $172,000 in accounts receivable minus the $4,200, which is here, and I would get, and this is the answer, the net amount of accounts receivable, $167,800. Okay, for problem 4, again, I'm going to make it bigger. I don't know how big I can make it, but as big as possible for you to see it. Let's see, I have, in this problem, I have 2 years here, 18 and 17. I have cash equivalents. It's telling you trade receivables, other receivables, which are not trade receivables, just other receivables. Inventories, net, other current assets, and total current assets. And this is the total assets. Okay. I give you all these numbers. These are all numbers given to you in the problem. Right here, all of this right here, I copied over. Okay, now look at these because we're going to use this. It's also telling you that the trade receivables, the net allowances, net of allowances. So this number right here already has the allowances taken out. And that's 24 at 2018 and 30 at 2017. And then this number also has allowances already taken out, and those are the numbers. So the first question, what is the common size trades receivable at year end 2018? If we remember correctly, and remember you need to use this and know this for the finance class, this is a percent of sales calculation, or the percent of the balance sheet calculation that we had done before. So what we're going to take here is trade receivables. We need to calculate trade receivables as a percentage of assets. So if I look at this and click on it, you'll see that I took DA divided by D13, which is trade receivables divided by assets, and I got 3.61%, and the same would be true in this, under this column here. Okay, now what do Mondelez's customers owe the company at the end of 2018? How much do they owe? Total, not how much is bad debts. How much do they owe? Whether they pay it or not yet, we don't know. But how much do they owe? So you're going to take the trades receivables, and that's at 2018. So I'm going to take this number, and I'm going to add the allowance of 24. So if I click on that, you're going to see I'm taking the 1357 plus the 24 to get the total. Okay, the next question, what does Mondelez expect to collect from its customers in 17? How much is it going to collect? Okay, well, it's just going to collect this because that's already net of the allowance. So I didn't need to do any calculations on that one. I just need to know that that's how much they're expecting to collect. And by the way, trade receivables basically is from the customer. The next one is, what is the gross receivables at year end of 2018? What does gross mean? Gross means I'm going to add the trade and the other, and then since these are net, I have to add back the allowance 2428. So if I get that, you can see that's what I did. I took D8 plus D9 plus 24 plus 28. And this last question, what percentage of trade receivables does the company deem uncollectible at 2018? And now we're doing a percentage. Okay, we know that they think that it's 24 for the trades it's uncollectible. So what does that mean? That means I have to take 24 divided by this 1357 to get a percentage of how much is uncollectible. And that is problem 4. Okay, let's go ahead and look at problem 5 now. And we're going to see that in problem 5, and again, I'm going to do, and I want you to know on your own screen, you can increase these, enlarge this so you can see it better. You know, if it's coming up in a small window. Okay, here, evaluating the accounts receivable turnover for competitors, we're looking at Procter & Gamble and Colgate-Palmolive. And so we're going to, they report the following sales and accounts receivable, and they're just giving you the balances. Here they are for sales and accounts receivable. Okay, now the first thing we're going to need to do in this problem, I just want you to know that we do need to take for some of the problems an average account receivable. You notice we have these 2 years. Okay, so I'm going to click on this, and it's going to show you that I'm just adding these 2 together for 17 and 18 and dividing by 2 to get an average. Okay, and then that's for the next company. Okay, now if we go over to here, we're taking the accounts receivable turnover 2018. Let's click on it. And you can see that I did this another way right here, but I just wanted you to see what that was over there as far as the averages. So I took the net sales divided by the average accounts receivable, and you can see I added C10 and C11 and divided by 2. And I got 16.37, and the same was true there. Okay, now for the days sales outstanding calculation, and by the way, this is going to be in how I did it. It says accounts receivable, but I'm using average accounts receivable divided by annual revenue times the number of the days that I'm working with, and that's a year, so that's 365. So if I look at this one, you can see I took G14 divided by the average receivable times 365, and G14 is the net sales, so net sales divided by average receivable times 365, and the same goes for the other. I hope that helps you make everything so much easier as far as when you're doing the problems. So I'm going to stop my screen sharing, and I'm going to say, have a great day, and I'll see you back online. I'm stopping the video. Thank you very much.